Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazed, and today is going to be the day before Legion launch. I believe at this point it's like 14 hours on US servers, probably 6 hours, something around there for EU servers. So it's getting really close, guys. Really excited, really stoked and ready for this. So what I'm going to do is give you guys an update on what talents and stuff I'm going to be running, give you kind of a quick rotation on that, talk about why I'm using that. And yeah, guys, just get ready for Legion. So let's talk about this.
It's who we are, it's what we do, we've come so far, and now we pay the price, so don't even cry. The world is breaking down, and I cannot leave the ground.
Jumping right into what talents I'm going to be using for these leveling, guys. Basically, as you can see here, I decided for PvE I'm going to be using the elongated breath spec. I absolutely love it for PvE, guys. Basically, for the level 56 talent, I'm going to be running Murderous Efficiency. Shattering Strike for PvP is also amazing. I wouldn't recommend it for PvE since the Razor Eyes doesn't seem to apply in PvP at the moment. But for PvE, obviously, it's going to be fine. Deals quite a bit of damage. It's great for consistency, but I'm going to be using this for increased runic power gain and elongated burst. Obviously, guys, since this is PvE leveling, if you don't care too much about performance, maximizing DPS at certain times, you care more about looks, there's different ways you can go, obviously. But the one I'm running is how you get the highest peak burst DPS, and with this spec, once you pick up legendaries, as we saw in some of the other videos, and also the artifact video, I remember. So if you guys want like legendaries, Frost DK artifact stuff, go ahead and check out the channel, guys. Obviously, there's more stuff and information on there. But anyways, basically, we're going to be rocking this spec for the reason that one of the artifacts gives you basically 2 sets of Hungering Rune Weapon, which elongates your burst out to be like almost 2 minutes long, and the cooldown on Breath of Sindragosa is almost 2 minutes. So you can imagine if you can hold that breath for a whole 2 minutes and then breath again, that is just absolutely an insane amount of burst damage. I'm totally stoked to get it. That's what I'm going for here. Level 57 talent, we're going to be using Horn of Winter again for more generation during that burst, for generating more runic power, and of course a couple extra runes. Now, another talent that people like to use that's really good is Freezing Fog. Now, if you take Shattering Strikes, Freezing Fog, more than likely you're going to be going for that DPS rotation build where you take Obliteration. And let's see, what's the other one they usually use? Probably Avalanche, I can imagine. But anyways, I mean, actually, I think Ice Cap, if I remember correctly, is what people go. Shattering Strikes, Freezing Fog, Ice Cap, and usually Obliteration is where they differentiate. With a different spec. It's more of a consistent spec, but doesn't have as high as burst. That's why I like running this one, obviously. Level 58 talent is going to be Hungering Rune Weapon. Obviously, it's going to, of course, elongate our burst out. When you use the other one, it gives you everything at once, which is really great for peaking that burst damage right then and there. But Hungering Rune Weapon will actually elongate it out, so you actually get better consistency and timing when it comes to using Breath of Sindragosa. So that's why I'm using that one. Level 60 talent, I'm going to be using Winter is Coming generally for PvP. But I'll probably, for PvE and leveling, I'm going to take Abomination's Might, because Obliterate critical strikes have a chance to drive a lesser enemies to the ground, stunning them for 2 seconds, which obviously is going to be a lot more consistent than using Winter is Coming, because burst comes up every minute, so you'll have a stun every minute. But for PvE, I'll probably take Abomination's Might, obviously, for leveling, since they will be CCable mobs most of the time. Alright, so level 75. Now, see, these ones for PvP, probably take Volatile Shielding. White Walker's okay for PvP. Probably going to take Permafrost for PvE, definitely, and get the extra Absorb Shield on the melee. Because obviously you're going to be standing there hitting a lot of targets, getting punched in the face by a lot of melee damage while leveling. So that'll probably be the most consistent out of those to use. That's definitely what I'm going to be using for leveling. Alright, the level 90 talent, I would say either use Frost Scythe or Runic Attunement. Frost Scythe is going to be cool for, AoE pulls. Cool thing to use in dungeons, but not necessarily going to be the greatest for damage since it doesn't have the right kind of consistency. It does great damage on proc, though. I like using Runic Yeah, tune basically because it's going to give you extra runic power generation to elongate, of course, that breath. So, yeah, of course, that's the way I want to do it. Level 100, of course, we just talked about the obliteration spec that people like to use for a little bit more consistency. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown instead of 2 minutes, so you can use it a bit, but I don't think it procs anywhere near as high as burst than using Breath of Sindragosa, obviously, and that's what I'm going to be using. Now, if you want a little more flash, a little more consistency, probably for killing PvE mobs, Glacial Advance wouldn't be a bad thing to go. If you were really geared, I can imagine it might be good. But besides that, guys, that's going to be the spec I'm rolling, is the breath spec. It has insane burst, runs on about a 2 minute cooldown, your peak burst, but overall it has like the normal 1 minute cooldown for Pillar of Frost, so it does have consistency, not as high as Obliteration, but I mean it still offsets the cooldown even with that ability. Alright, so let's go over damaging and burst with this. So as we all know, Frost EKs at the moment in Legion have very limited survivability. It has gotten a little bit better, but very limited, especially until we get our artifact weapons and get that extra heal proc off of Icebound Fortitude that heals for 300%. So until we get that, our survivability is pretty low, and that's why I'm basically running this spec that allows us to get this maximum beefy amount of damage in a small amount of time, because we do not play well in the elongated fights. And if we end up getting into PvP fights out there, this spec's going to be what saves your butt in a lot of confrontations, because having the elongated spec is kind of going to let a lot of classes get the upper hand on you 1v1. So that's definitely why I'm basing it around this. Alright, so what we're going to do here for this crazy burst spec is, of course, you want to have a bunch of runic power. Now, one of the major problems I've seen with a lot of people I've been watching lately is they seem to allow their breath to fall off way too early for some reason. Now, of course, I'm using the Breath of Sindragosa's macro. I'll put that down in the comments below so you guys can see that. Of course, it uses a couple obliterates for you, things like that. Alright, so you get close to, of course, maximum runic power. You're going to use procs or anything like that. Alright, we're going to throw up our Remorseless Winter. Of course, that's going to be a stun if you have the certain ability, obviously. If you don't have the certain ability, and we're using Abomination's Might for PvE, of course, so, I mean, we're not going to stun with that anyways. So we're going to throw up Breath, we're going to throw up our Remorseless Winter, and then we're going to slowly obliterate, keeping our runic power just about capped. We're going to throw off a Horn of Winter, throw in Obliterates, and we're just going to use Obliterates using a proc, using Obliterates. You got to keep your runic power up to keep this breath going, guys. You can't just expect breath to keep itself up. You got to watch it. When you get about a quarter, you're going to use Hungering Rune Weapon, and you're going to use Obliterates as fast as possible to peak back up your runic power. And try to keep some runes on cooldown, because they generate up really fast when Hungering is down. So you're going to keep using those Obliterates. I think we're about a 40-second breath right now. I didn't use my ring at all. We'll throw a ring in there too. Of course, you're going to want to use a ring if you have your legendary ring in there to enhance that burst, make it even more insane, and keep it up for longer. Now, this is the reason why I'm using this spec. As you can see, if there was any PvE mobs in front of me and we're doing some insane damage, it would just annihilate him. That's a minute right there, breath. That's insane. We just kept over a minute long breath. Oh, goodness. Hey, look at this Jawa. That's our arena partner. What up, Jawa? Alright, so that's why we're using that. It's an absolutely insane burst. The damage is wild. It just rips through people. It'll save your butt when you have lack of survivability in PvE and PvP. So yeah, guys, that's going to be the spec I'm rocking. If you want to know the artifacts, anything about the artifacts, anything about, see, what else did we talk about? Legendary weapons. I'll put those links down below for you guys. But anyways, just wanted to give you guys a quick update, PvE update on what I'm going to use when I'm leveling to make sure you guys are on kind of the right track. As for stat priority for Frost DKs, guys, I'm going to be saying go Haste, Mastery, and over both of those Strength, of course, because it's a base stat. Some other people are preaching crit, but guys, like, no, you don't take crit as a Frost DK. Maybe for PvE later on it'll be better, but don't do it. Hey, we got Mad. Mad's back in the game too. Hi, guys. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it'll help you out for launch. I hope you're stoked as I am and ready for this, guys. I'll probably be doing some streamings when I'm leveling. Definitely trying to share the adventure with you guys. I haven't done like any of the PvE, so everything's going to be like brand new to me also, so we're going to be adventuring. I probably won't be playing music, more like just in-game stuff, so we can really try to get into it. So, I mean, I'll be off and on if I'm trying to reach out or something. But anyways, guys, go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, we'll be in Legion. This is your boy Hazed.